Good morning, people. I hope everybody remembered to wear their pajamas today. Hey, big and sister. I couldn't quite get my whole operation. I couldn't quite get my whole operation into bed with me, so I brought my bed to the operation. Hey, Chris Hammett. It's your first time on You Now. Welcome. Hey, Mad Blender. Welcome. How's everyone doing this morning? Oh no, you're not hearing any sound? Okay, let's see. Let's see. Pajama Party. Is anybody else having trouble hearing sound? Okay, so Lily. Okay, Lily, Vegan Sista, and Mad Blender both have sound. If anybody else is having any trouble with sound, my guess is it's a, I don't know. Hey, Hitman, thanks for inviting 135 fans to this broadcast. And I don't know if you guys remember. Okay. Hey, Mike, thanks for inviting 88 fans to this broadcast. Matt Blender, thanks for inviting 153 fans to the broadcast. I'm so excited to see you guys this morning. So much stuff has gone on this weekend. So much stuff is happening. What's interesting is, oh, okay, cool. Lily is able to hear me on YouTube, which is great. Um, if there's a birthday party at your house, Mike, is it your birthday? Yeah, Matt Blender says it's been cray cray. Yeah, it's been a wild, wild week. So many confirmations. So many conf. Ah, it's your daughter-in-law's birthday. So if it, not that it means anything, but you know, say happy birthday for me. I hope you're. I hope you've managed a vegan cake in there. Hey, Kearney V. Great to see you. So there's so much we could talk about today. We could talk about those of you who've been following what's been. Hey, thank you for your applause, Hitman. Yeah, I'm feeling some love. Vegan cheesecake. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so cool. We're all on the same page here. So, yeah, there's so many things that we could talk about, and I hope that folks who are here watching the broadcast would be interested. Thanks for 50 likes, Kearney. We'll be interested in jumping on and being guests today to talk about several things that are happening. So, I don't know how many of you are, consider yourselves, intersectional um, vegans or take an intersectional approach to your activism, but I consider myself someone who is interested in an intersectional approach, and the idea comes from Kimberly Crenshaw, who really developed the idea because she was looking at the particular situation that black women were finding themselves in, where they were being discriminated against for being black, and they were being discriminated against for being women, but those two things weren't happening at the same time, but it was creating these particular issues. And the example she gives is there was an African American woman who applied for a job and was just pretty sure that she was being discriminated against. And when she took the case to court, they said, well, there are black employees and there are women employees. It is not possible that you could be discriminated against. But it was pointed out that the black employees were all in jobs that were, in the either in like kind of maintenance, all jobs that were being given to black men, and none of those jobs were being given to women. And the jobs that were being given to women were all kind of front of house jobs, reception, administrative, all of the people who were kind of being seen by the public, and none of the women were women of color. They were all white. And so she found herself in this really sticky position where, well, she couldn't say that they discriminated against black people or that they discriminated against women. It was a particular discrimination that was happening to black women. And so, it took a little bit. It's not even, I don't even think it's rocket science, right? I think that most people listening to this can understand how that's a particular issue. If people are only seeing that blacks are suitable for a certain type of job and that none of those jobs are available to women, and that women are only suitable for a certain type of job, and none of those jobs are being given to black people, that if you're, a black woman, then that you're being discriminated against in a very particular way. Thanks for the compliment, Tom McDonald, on my pajamas. I hope, again, that other people are in their pajamas and that we're going to see some of those pajamas when you guessed. So that is something that came up. Unnatural Vegan made a video basically kind of slamming intersectional veganism, and the idea is it's not really intersectional veganism. It's vegans who take an intersectional approach to their work, right? They're really, even though some people do kind of claim themselves as intersectional vegans, it's really, that title is a title. It's not really a title. It's just vegans who are intersectional, because if you're intersectional, you're looking at all kinds of issues in your lives and the way all these different things intersect. And so you might be a vegan, but if you're intersectional, you're going to see different issues that appear as a vegan. Okay, so Unnatural Vegan slammed the idea of intersectionality and social justice in general. So I ended up making a video about it. But I have to say that I look like a broke Doc Rivers. I don't even know who Doc Rivers is, but whoever that is, okay, I'll be that. I'll be a broke Doc Rivers. I don't mind at all. Like I said, I don't know who it is. If you could tell me a little bit about who that is, sure, if that makes you happy. Welcome. Renee F. So, anyways, so Unnatural Vegan makes this video. There was commenting back, and I made a video. But I'm going to say that that what ended up happening is that it actually brought some attention to my channel, and so there's actually been a lot of growth on the channel since I posted that video, and that video is, for me, one of like my most viewed videos. At least in terms of the amount of time that it's been posted. So I'm glad that people are watching it, and I hope it's helpful. So if people are interested in talking a little bit more about intersectionality today, or if anybody else wants to jump on and talk about it from their perspectives, or if you, for some reason, find intersectionality troubling, maybe today is a time that we can talk about it and work out what your concerns are with intersectionality, which is this tool, right? Alex W., yes, I can see you, and welcome to the channel. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else I haven't said good morning to. I think, let's see, Kearney, no, yep, morning, Mike, yes, Lily, yes, Tom, yes, Renee, good morning, yes, Alex, good morning, Soy to Luna, welcome, Angie for Insta, welcome to the channel. Good morning. And thank you, Soy to Luna, for inviting 111 fans to the broadcast. All of you who are on YouNow for the first time, welcome. I can't necessarily see everyone as you join the channel. Sometimes takes a while for you to pop up, so good morning to those folks. So again, intersectionality being one thing that we can talk about. Another thing that came up, obviously there's all of the things that have happened in the world of politics that we can talk about. If anybody has some insights on that and you want to get into it, I'm going to tell you that today has been I've been a little bit out of touch in terms of politics, because I've been so engaged with the channel. There's been so much activity. There have been more comments than I think I've ever had in the course of a single week. So, and thank you for the 10 likes. Thank you for the 50 likes, Tom. Thank you for the likes, Soy to Luna. Lily says, I had to go back home before going with my parents. Lily, I hope that doesn't mean I did not know it will be a pajama. Oh yeah, so last week what happened was everybody was saying, nobody would guess last week because they were saying they were all still in their pajamas. They had to go. So I said, okay, I'm gonna be here in my pajamas next week, and I would have had a teddy bear, but I forgot it, and I didn't want to be late starting the broadcast today. Make a Wish, Chris Hammett. Do I watch SNL? No, I don't watch SNL. I don't really watch network television. I get my news mostly from, I kind of get my news from Democracy Now! And other outlets that are online, MSNBC, some of that, articles that appear, and from you guys too when you share links with me and turn me on to stories. But is there something on SNL that is of particular interest, Angie for Insta, that you want to share with us? Or, okay, Soy to Luna says, I don't watch Unnatural Vegan, so I'm missing context. It really basically, the issue with Unnatural Vegan was, and I don't want to categorize it for anyone because you may not agree with me, but basically, Unnatural Vegan made a video about intersectionality, which again is just it's a way of looking at the way that different people who are part of several groups that would be considered oppressed. So, a queer African American woman might be, part of three groups that might be considered oppressed groups, and might experience oppression, even from within those other oppressed groups, like from people who consider themselves queer might be demonstrating, discrimination against a queer woman because she's black, and also in the black community, a woman might experience discrimination because she's a woman. So she's within these oppressed groups and experiencing like oppression within those groups, and so that individual is going to have to develop particular tools for dealing with the oppression as it manifests itself in their lives, and that's what intersectionality is about. Kearney is saying UV's thing is just to be contrary. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Because I think this is the first time that the subject that she was talking about is something that I've spent time thinking about and something that I feel is very applicable in my own life. And so to hear her talking about it as kind of this useless belief system, when I'm like, well, it could be a belief system, but, I am a gay African American and I experience discrimination that other queer people, other gay people don't experience because they're not black. And I experience discrimination that other black people don't experience because they're not gay. And so I understand that, I need a way to be able to function within both of those groups. If I don't have certain tools to be able to maneuver in both of those groups, which is what intersectionality is about. It's understanding that you're going to need a special set of tools that somebody who is just gay or just black is not going to have to think about. Tom McDonald says, I think most of her subscribers are non-vegans searching for excuses not to be vegan. How interesting. I'd never thought of that. She was acting like a person who only knows how to make frozen pizza, commenting on French cuisine. That's what Mike on Raw says. Yeah, I kind of felt that way. It kind of felt oddly. I felt like I was in opposite land because suddenly there were people defending her views on intersectionality who also didn't know what intersectionality was, but they were ready to, really go to bat. It seemed, I was actually somebody actually told me I should, go eat AIDS, and by AIDS I mean like HIV/AIDS, because I was expressing not anything against her, but just I was suggesting that they might want to go and learn more. And it's interesting because in her video she says, it's wrong to shut people down for being racist, but then someone's going to shut me down and wish that I, so it just was weird. Anyway, so that's that. Then there's, general politics. And then I don't know if we have any folks here from the gaming community, but I, kind of fell upon this thing called Gamergate, which apparently is like it's a 3-year old. It's not a controversy, but it's a group that kind of sprang up about 3 years ago in response to, corrupt journalism in the gaming industry, and people felt like there was a lot of nepotism. Not that, and I'm just interested in learning a little bit more about Gamergate. And from what I've been able to see, I watched a lot of videos. I actually found myself watching a Sargon of Akkad video, and I don't know if you folks know Sargon of Akkad, but probably not a person who maybe is seen as kind of a liberal person would be watching. Not that I have anything against Sargon of Akkad, but most of the videos of his that I've watched have been kind of dismissive of things that I think are useful and interesting in the world. So yeah, Tom says never heard of. I'm not going to send you searching for Sargon of Akkad videos. I don't know that anyone's life is going to be, incomplete if they've never seen a Sargon of Akkad video. There just happened to be one on this thing called Gamergate. Now, Tom, you may also be talking about Gamergate. And it's something that sprang up in the gaming community. People were really kind of upset about, this corruption in journalism. I'm still having trouble seeing what the significance is if we're talking about video games, which I know people take so seriously, so seriously. I know that people who are hobbyists take their hobbies very, very seriously, and I don't want to diminish that for anyone, but it didn't seem like anyone was going to, go to jail or, die of starvation or, not have access to health care or education because of what was happening in the gaming community. So I'm really interesting. Thank you. Angie says, I love to hear you talk. Thank you so much. I'm not sure. And Obi-Wan Canoli says, my university has an intersectionality degree program, and I have taken some courses, so I don't understand her argument. I'm guessing and her definition. That her definition is an academic one. Yeah, I'm not sure. It sounds to me like maybe she found some tools that are used in discussing intersectionality, and she took the tool out of context, and it just looked weird to her, and so she applied on top of that tool something that really had nothing to do with intersectionality at all. I have not watched Isol's video against intersectionality, but Soy Tu Luna, I will check it out. Carlos, Ivan, Lomo, hello. Say hello. Buenos dias. Was that totally awful? I suddenly got quiet in here because my heater turned off, and it felt a little bit like crickets here. My Spanish is only a little bit better than my French. That's a lie. My Spanish is pretty okay. But hello to you and your friends in Mexico. Where in Mexico are you, Carlos? Tom McDonald says, as a gamer, I can say the gaming community is not open to women and even less to social justice movements. One thing that the reason that I even came, one of the reason that, thank you, Soy Tu Luna, and I'm thinking that was in reference to my Spanish. So Tom McDonald, oh, you're in UNAM. Is that in DF? It's not DF now. It's Ciudad de Mexico. Yes. For those who don't know, I think that Mexico City and Mexico was sort of like Washington, D.C. in the United States, but I believe they became either their own city or their own state. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carlos. But it's very interesting. One of the things that I found interesting, and I'll get back to the gaming thing in a second, about being in Mexico, is that if you're in Mexico and you talk about being from obviously Americans, estadounidenses, talk about themselves as being, citizens of the United States of America, talk about themselves as being American, and they think that that's actually saying something. A recent video, VC apparently included me in a vid. I've not been following, but I've been busy. There's been a lot of stuff going on. So thank you, MedBlender, for Yes, Mexico. So this, so the university UNAM is in Mexico City. So cool. I love Mexico City, and anybody who's been following the channel and knows Mrs. King, the reason that we haven't seen a Mrs. King video, Mrs. King is converting to veganism, so I've been following her journey. We haven't seen her in a couple of weeks because she actually was in Mexico City, and so I'm going to probably be hearing some stories from Mrs. King. Productions Mini Thin, thank you for becoming a fan. The Mexico City thing. So if you're from America and you're in Mexico City and you say I'm from America, it's so are people from Mexico, right? They're in America. And if you say that you're from the United States, actually they're United States of Mexico. So you're saying that you're from the United States isn't actually a an original thing. If you say you're from North America, Mexico is in North America as well. So that's, I think there are things that people don't really understand about when you're from the United States of America, the USA, that sometimes the way we talk about our identity is not very distinct from from other people in the world. So we have to be maybe a little bit more careful about that. So yes, and we were talking about Tom McDonald brought up this whole idea of people in the gaming community not being friendly to people from the social justice movement, and it seems to me that it came out of there was some energy in the journalism community to kind of attack the gaming community because of the way they were reacting, and so somehow these leftist journalists, got conflated with social justice people in general, and so now there's this real animosity against people from the social justice community, which I think is really unfair, because that's like the same thing happened with Black Lives Matter, right? There are some elements in Black Lives Matter that people might not agree with, but it's not the whole movement, right? But people are really ready to write it off. My sense is they probably weren't very interested in social justice to begin with, probably thought like, what is that? It gets in my way. I actually made a video that I'm going to post tomorrow that's about people being apolitical, people believing in being apolitical, and whether or not it's really possible to be apolitical. And sometimes when you think you're being apolitical, what you're really doing is you're just embracing the status quo. And so what may sound to you like something that's, quite offensive, like the life that you're living and that you're so pleased with may actually be, offensive and problematic to other people. So to be willing to see that, to really make room for everyone, it might mean, kind of getting out of your comfort zone, there was a really cool 4-part series on YouTube called "Why Are You So Angry" by Innuendo Studios. It's a really good approach to analyzing Gamergate. Oh, cool. I'll check that out. Thank you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So nobody has jumped in the queue yet. So the last Killer Clown, hello, I'm vegan and I'm still fat. Well, okay, cool. I hope that however you are, that that you're loving yourself and you're feeling good about yourself. I'm glad you're vegan. There's a reason that I have this pillow up in front of me too, if you want to know the honest to goodness truth, Killer Clown. And I can't really see your thumbnail, but I think, is it Tim Curry from It? Gotham Parks, thanks for becoming a fan. I don't know if anybody is aware of it, but they're doing a reboot of It, which is a novel by Stephen King. There was a television movie made about it, I think maybe back in the 70s, with Tim Curry as the clown. I can't remember the name of the clown. Pennywise, the clown. And so I'm kind of excited about this. Yeah, Pennywise, Michael and Raw, thanks a lot. Yeah, so there's a remake. There's a film remake of It, and I hope they do it better justice than the 70s miniseries did. And I think there's a lot of things in that novel that would have been tricky for them to do for television, but I think would be, quite possible to do. Was that the one with the giant spider at one point? It is, in a nutshell, it's basically about, there's a town where these kids keep vanishing, and basically they're being enticed down into the sewer by a killer clown. And a group of kids, when they're young, they discover what's going on and they sort of fight against the clown, and then they kind of put it down, and then then they wake, and they, like years later as adults, they find like he's back, and so they have to defeat him again. I don't know, whatever. It's all sci-fi horror kind of stuff, but yeah. So now that we're 27 minutes into this, and I've been running my mouth so much, so I apologize, you guys. I really, really would much rather have some of you up here guesting. The last thing kind of on the agenda is that I really want to respond to, you guys may know Redneck to Vegan is, just one of my faves, one of my favorite people, and he's a, vegan YouTuber, and, gets kind of in there, really has very strong beliefs about veganism, and really doesn't really suffer a lot of foolishness. And recently, can I broadcast more? Devlin, can I broadcast more often? It is possible that I could broadcast more often. The problem with trying to broadcast more often on a schedule is that I'm afraid that I would disappoint you guys, because I really am involved in a lot of things, especially after the election, especially here in Detroit. There's a lot of energy and a lot of there's a lot of organizing that's going on, and I'm trying to be part of that and trying to bring that stuff to you guys as well. So I don't know, maybe I'll broadcast from some of the places that I'm going to. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, Vegan Sister says, I liked what you said about Redneck to Vegan in your mukbang. Thank you for that. Kearney, I like Redneck to Vegan a lot, but that apology video confused me. Yeah, and it was mostly that I was confused by the apology video, just because there were things that were being said, and I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't know anything about Jeff that would make me say that he was a nice guy, and I don't know. Again, I don't want to say what Redneck to Vegan's connection is to this whole, apparently, there are these 50 lawsuits against people who have, who maybe haven't said anything, but maybe were somehow tangentially connected to something that Jeff is involved with. There's some YouTuber, Chantel Robin, maybe it is, who made a bunch of videos, really kind of compilations of of Jeff's own content and Vegan Cheetah's content, apparently, just tying them together. And I'm like, they're at each other's homes. Nobody needs to make a video tying those two together. We know that they're connected. Jeff, had, Charles Marlowe, the Vegan Cheetah, had him as a guest at, his veg convention. There's a connection. We know there's a connection between the two of them. So Chantel Robbins, I guess, has these clips that show conversations, but they're all things that if you followed either one of them or you watched their other videos, you've probably seen all that stuff before. So, hey, Jordan, welcome to the broadcast. So one thing is that I was actually hoping that that Redneck to Vegan would be with us today so that we could hear from him. What is going on? What was that about? Yeah, and there was censorship of the comments. Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with, his line of work, and, and he talks about his line of work as a teacher. And I think not wanting to be involved in scandal when, it could affect your livelihood is totally understandable. But why say nice things about the person? Why say someone is a nice person if there's been no evidence? Unless, who knows, maybe he had a conversation with Jeff and Jeff offered to make a huge donation to his favorite charity and explained something to him that is a private matter that the rest of us aren't allowed to know. You see how hard I'm working here to try to make sense of this thing? But it seems to me that there's none of that he couldn't share. It's just very, very... Matt Blender says, something that annoyed me is that he apparently is so strong, and he was so strong in his convictions, but backed right down to Jeff, which is it's weird because, here we have, And yeah, I don't care. What's the worst going to happen? I won't be broadcasting anymore. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm saying something that's going to mean that I can't broadcast anymore or have a YouTube channel. But you know, Jeff is being a little bit of the Donald Trump of the vegan YouTube community right now. He's sort of like doing all this stuff that's not in line with what veganism is supposed to stand for, right? He's like, oh no, it's just a diet, which is like being the uber capitalist of the vegan movement. And he's working with Charles, so his cabinet is like his cabinet pick does nobody wants his cabinet, nobody's into his cabinet picks. And then he's now he's like wanting to, like, he doesn't like the fact that people don't like him, and instead of saying, oh, maybe I stand corrected, he starts suing people. It's the absolutely most ridiculous thing that I'd ever heard of. So that said, we have our first guest. We're going to welcome, let's see if this all works out. We're going to welcome our first guest. This is Mad Blender. Come on, Mad Blender. I want to see some pajamas. I'm not going to be mad if I don't see pajamas, though. Hey!
Hey! Okay, yep. I'm in my robe.
All right. All right. You're ready to go.
I got no makeup. I'm feeding the kids as we speak. But
all right.
I figured I'd jump on real quick.
Come on now.
All right. So, yeah. So, something that... I like redneck to vegan, too. But something that really just... It felt so fake, and I would have rather him got up there and said, hey, I'm worried about my teaching degree, my teaching position, so I'm just coming on here. Like, I would have rather, because I feel like he's a teacher. I feel like maybe that had something to do with it. There was this lawsuit, and he got scared. I would have rather him came on and said that rather than putting on a show about how great Jeff is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't feel like that was sincere or authentic. And then kind of what I was just commenting on he comes on and he made all these videos about vegan cheetah, being pretty much being not genuine when it comes to his. Sorry, my daughter's right here.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
About vegan cheetah not pretty much being a fake vegan, and pretty much standing up for what redneck to vegan seems to be one of those people that constantly preaches stand up for your convictions, stand up for what you believe in,
mm-hmm.
don't back down
mm-hmm.
type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second he's kind of challenged, he removes all of his videos, then says that he wasn't probed by Jeff at all to do this video. That's another
mm-hmm.
thing. Like, I would have rather him came on and be like, hey, I'm being sued by Jeff. So here, I'm making this video. Like, I would have rather him just been more honest about it. Like, it was all just very bizarre to me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to ask you this. I mean, I'm in the same place as you are. I'm just like, I don't understand it. Can you imagine a justification for, not a justification for making an apology video, but a justification for the particular way that it was done, a justification for why he would be complimenting this person who we pretty much understand is just being a little bit of a blowhard and just wanting to be right.
Yeah, I mean, unless no.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Maybe if there was, I'm trying to put myself in his position. I actually do feel for him in the sense that maybe he's seriously worried that he's gonna lose his job or he's gonna get, you know what I mean? That something.
Yeah.
He may be seriously fearful for that. So I can put myself in his shoes and I can say, okay, but the way he went about responding to that is where I don't get. So I can understand,
right.
Like, if I was being sued today, I'd probably be a little scared. I don't think that I would go on and make a video like he did, though.
Right. Yeah, and it likes to say, because even like even making a video saying, apologizing to his viewers and saying it was wrong of me to do that, right? That's if someone's suing you, or I don't know. I mean, again, I don't want to be too much. I'm with you. Like, I don't want to so much be in his head, but to say, I'm, not even to talk about the being sued, because maybe there's like some, maybe there's something in the law or as being part of a case that he's not supposed to talk about it, but he could just come on and say, you know what, I was wrong about those things that I said, and
Exactly.
I'm going to be taking down my content.
Exactly.
And,
And,
boo. Come on, come on.
even if Jeff was super nice to him, that doesn't negate all the shitty things that Jeff has done.
Yeah.
So then to come on and be like, oh, he's this nice guy. Just because he was nice to you once in an email does not make him a nice guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, did he fly out to Florida? Did he fly to Florida
Yes,
with, you know what I mean? And, like, show up at his school and, like, donate a new building? I mean, he would really have had to do something
Exactly.
huge to
Yeah.
or, like, I would have to find, I mean, like, or he would have to show me, like, the full versions of all of his videotapes that he had made, and then I would see that, oh, they were edited down, like, including the ones that he has on his own channel, would have had to be edited down by someone else to look like, but based on the things that he has presented on his own channel that I have watched, ways that he responded to me, he blocked me. He blocked
Jeff
me.
blocked you?
Yeah, he blocked me after one comment on his channel where I was like, I just didn't think that it was right the way he, kind of used his age privilege, and he used his, like, he has, like, white privilege. He's, like, showing up as the figure. He looks like, the stereotypical, like, Western image of God, right? He's like
Right.
the old white hair, and so he stands there and says all these things, and no credentials presented. He didn't even say his name. We're supposed to,
Right.
and he's supposed, and we're supposed to believe him. And so I said that, and he called me, a racist. He called me a racist. It's not the first time I've been called a racist, which is why I laugh whenever someone else accuses me of calling them a racist, because I've been called racist so many times.
I see that. I was even in Unnatural Vegans video, bringing that up. I was seeing a privileged vegan being called a racist more times than I can count. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? And you, like, what?
Yeah. So I mean, it's opposite. It's opposite land. Like,
It
we're in
is.
we're in opposite land, and the things that I'm seeing, on not television, but like the videos that I'm watching, things of Donald Trump, all of these things, that we're in a world where our president. Oh, I don't want to say anything. I don't even want to talk about that. But, like, things don't look so good, and people are pretend like this is the new normal. People are pretending that it's okay. People are still kind of trying to justify it, and it just seems to me so bizarre. Why am I called a racist? Well, Lily K, I don't want to get too far into it, but there is a channel that you can go to, and there's like 7 videos about me. Being
Really?
called out as, oh yeah, there's like 7 of them now, and I'm just keeping track because I just want to.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 7 videos that were made by a particular person, like, explaining exactly why I'm a racist. Okay, let me get back in there. Okay, say, I understand wanting to cover yourself, but it just doesn't seem right the way he went about it. That was Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think. People, this is so backwards, because he pointed out Jeff Nelson's from VegSource was using his white privilege. Yeah, so I was called a racist, and that's another thing too. Why do people get so upset about the notion of white privilege or male privilege? It's not. Nobody's accusing anyone of anything. Nobody who is white or male or I don't want to say nobody is, but nobody, because of their identity as these things, is being called out as a bad person. We're just, recognizing that because of that, you get seen in society as, maybe having a little more authority than you deserve, maybe, getting to be in charge at a higher rate than you deserve.
Reggie,
What's
I
going on?
gotta go. There's syrup everywhere. They
You
just
you go
spilled the
take
syrup.
care. Go
I'll be
take care
right
of
back.
business.
I'll try.
Okay. All right. All right. So thank you, Mad Blender, and maybe we'll see you again before the broadcast is over. All right. So okay. Wow. I just want to know if the facts he said were true. Yeah, Jordan, wondering if what Redneck to Vegan was talking about is true. Yeah, that was. I mean, and that's the thing is that I don't imagine him that he would lie. So I want to know, like, what is the thing that he was talking about when he said that he was really a good person. Well, I want to know what that really was about. Yeah, I was hearing the baby crying and all that stuff and hollering and stuff. I know you had to go um, take care of business, handle your business. So let me see. I'm trying to follow what before criticizing BLM, one should go to the website and look at what BLM's goals are. Yeah, Vegan Sista, I have to say, if you haven't gone to the Black Lives Matter website before you try to defend it, even if you agree with Black Lives Matter, do go to the website because there is a reason that movement, I think, is particularly appealing to so many people. It's maybe the first time in my experience that a movement that is specifically focused on black issues also is taking an intersectional approach and looking at the way that within the black community there are people who have been excluded, there are voices that have been excluded, so they have a list of principles and they talk about intentionally being inclusive of other voices that have been marginalized in movements for black liberation. And that's another thing is I hear myself talking about black liberation and I think, oh, I probably sound like I'm from another planet. But I think when we start to look at on a world scale, the land that, the homelands of Africans are, continually under siege. And so when are we going to have a world where being black doesn't make you a target for colonization, right? But it's what it is. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only person who's seeing these things happening in the world, and maybe I should just sit back and be satisfied that nobody's breaking down my door today to hurt me today, at least. Not that I've not ever been grabbed up on the street, but that's a whole other thing. Could I reply to Vegan Gains video about Black Lives Matter? Could I reply to Gains video about Black Lives Matter? I mean, I'll go and watch it, and if I feel like I have something intelligent to say about it, I'd be happy to do that. Hey, morning, Nikki Wonderful. Yeah, Jordan, I'd be happy to do that. I don't. I think I've made a video about Black Lives Matter already, but again, like I said, thank you, Bakia, for 50 likes. Thank you so much. So yes, so I would be happy to go and check out Vegan Gains video and offer my thoughts on it. If I have enough to say for an entire video, definitely. If I don't have enough for an entire video, I might just include it as part of an update video and just offer my opinions on it there. But thank you for bringing my attention to that. Also, folks, the only reason that I was aware of the Unnatural Vegan video was that one of the viewers mentioned in the comment section, hey, have you seen this video? So and it ended up being something that I really am happy that I was able to offer my 2 cents. So for those of you who please do never feel like you're out of place in recommending that I check out videos or asking for a video on a particular topic if you just want to kind of get my insights. Something that if I don't know a lot. I am owner. Thank you so much for 400 likes. That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys, I'd also already been thinking about a video about Tana Mojo with the whole N-word thing, and I just am not clear on what is going on. It seems like there are some clips from videos, like some clips from stuff from when she was like a kid, and she's using the N word. And like, if you did something 5 years ago and since then have come out and explained how wrong you feel that is, and kind of have become an advocate against the use of against a certain type of behavior, why go back, 5 years and rake someone over the coals for something that is just old news? So I'm not saying that that's the case with Tana Mojo, but I do want to find out a little bit more about the source of the clips where she's using some pretty problematic language, and who knows, I don't know who she's talking to, things happen in friendships and games and role playing, and all kinds of things can happen in privacy that when they're looked at outside, I mean, just think of all the things that happen in private, right? And for someone to get access to something that you did in private as part of, again, like a whole role playing, which happens between friends. They have codes, they have all these things that happen that to the outsider might seem like, oh, they're earnestly going at each other, but it's just, it's something from a movie that, or it was something that they saw together, and so every time they, a certain thing comes up, they go into their routine, right? So just being clear, not to, just because something was caught on tape, it may not be as, damning as it seems. Again, she could have been talking to her best friend in the world, playing a role that, she knows really amuses this friend, and the friend, for all we know, was African American. I don't know. But again, I don't want to get into a whole thing of defending Tana Mojo either, because I just don't know. Vegan Sister, I loved her response. Yeah, I saw her response to, I'm trying to think of, somebody went to one of her meet and greets and kind of grabbed her and said, I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. She said, "Say nigger." And she walked away from that person. She was not about that. And then she went home and she took off all that makeup. She scrubbed down and she looked in the camera and she said, "Y'all, that is not what I'm about." And she talked about the very reasons why the use of that language are just not good. And so, yeah, Lily K, the person who asked her to say it was another YouTuber who she'd actually called out in a way that wasn't that appropriate either. So Tana Mojo, telling someone to kill themselves, even again if it's like a click word or whatever, it's lingo. Telling somebody to kill themselves is not cool. But again, these things happen because, like, culturally in one place, it's so something is used so much that it uses its meaning. Like I grew up calling people bitch when I really was like, I love you, you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. It was just like, bitch, you better wear that, you know what I mean, in a good way. I understand that in the wrong company, that could be, so, right? That could be horrible. And I've had, not my face slapped, but I've been made to sit down for using words in the wrong context, using certain types of language in the wrong context. So just so nobody thinks that I'm trying to be here being perfect, I know from experience that there are things that happen behind closed doors that you try to take that stuff out into the public, or it gets taken out into the public, and it's really destructive and really damning. So I don't want to do that to somebody else. Tana seems really flaky and kind of virtue signally. Yeah, I don't know that much. There was a time when I was watching Tana Mojo videos because there were a bunch of vegan YouTubers that were talking about her, and I don't know if she was trying to go vegan. I don't know what this is, but that's the only reason that I even know about. She was in a debate with Freely. I think she was actually like in a kind of a culture war with Freely. So yeah, I don't know. Tom McDonald says Tana Mojo is an absolute hypocrite. She says her channel isn't a place of negativity, and then tells people to kill themselves. Yeah, I didn't think it was cool to say kill yourself. right? And the whole, the other YouTuber kind of going after her was in uh sorry everybody. You may have just heard my I was trying to click and see if I could find out the name of the YouTuber. But okay, so flaky is someone who's not very you can't depend on them to be one way or other. They just kind of like sort of something that like things flaking off. But like flaky, not really dependable, really easily changeable, flip floppy. I'm guessing iDubbbz, yes. And then virtue signaling is basically someone who says things that they know sound right to the general public and will make them sound virtuous. But I think the understanding is that they don't really hold those values, or they don't, behind closed doors, they're not living those values. They're just, getting up in front of everyone and saying, we should all get along, which is real easy to say, but not so easy to do. Thanks. You're welcome, Lily K. Lonesome Bonesome, hello. She has no real argument, but says things that she knows will make people want to align with her. Yeah. So let me see. I think there is a bigger issue at play here. Vegan Sista, them sounds like guesting words to me. Vegan Sista says, I think there's a bigger issue at play. I would love to hear from you what you have to say. I'm excited for her response video. LOL. What Lonesome Bonesome, are you talking about? Sandalwood 5, it's your first time on YouNow. Welcome to YouNow. Okay, so you haven't showed up yet, but I'm gonna, as soon as that number shows, in fact, we can get this ahead. Lonesome Bonesome said, I'm excited for her response video, and I'm wondering if you mean Tana Mojo's response video? Lonesome Bonesome? Yeah, maybe. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I watched it late last night, and I'm going to tell you, I may have fallen asleep partially through, but I fell asleep feeling like what was being said was okay. So you guys may be way, way, way more on the nose than me. Problem with the police. Have you heard about the Theo story in France? No, I haven't. And if you can, provide a link, I'd love to go check that out. I have Cat Black's video, Mad Blender. I have Cat Black's video response to the Tana Mojo thing already kind of queued up and ready to go. I'm gonna try guesting you. Yeah, Vegan Sisters. We want Vegan Sister up on here. Vegan Sister, something went wrong. Vegan Sister, it might work if you just hop off and then hop right back on. Then I might be able to do it, because it's not showing you in the queue, and it's not showing me the green guest button when I click on your name. Yeah, so okay, I will check out Cat Black's. Great, thank you, and I'll look for it too. And it's Theo. Hey, Juice, welcome. Hello. So let's see, what have I been missing? So Lily K has been talking about. Yeah, welcome. So glad you're here, Juice. Been talking about a few things. Okay, hold on a second, you guys. I think we have success here. All right now. Okay. So, while we're waiting, Juice, just so you know that our topics today really have been a little bit about. Oh no! Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Here we go. Hey, Vegan Sister. Are
Good
you
morning.
okay? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right. I'm sorry, because I had some other things running and I turned down the sound. Are you there? Can you speak?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. I can hear you. You're great. Okay, welcome, Vegan Sister. For those of you who
Thank
don't
you.
know, this is Vegan Sister. My sister from
Chicago.
another Mister. All right. So
So
what's tell me?
I have there's this whole Tana Mojo issue and iDubbbz and everything, but I think that there is a bigger thing at play here that no one has really spoke about yet, which is this hijacking of the N-word by all these white people without discussing the issues that black people are facing. So instead of
Hmm.
focusing on the meaning of the N word and why it's offensive, et cetera, it's Tana Mojo and her white tears.
Hmm.
It's iDubbbz going out and bringing light of it. There's another YouTuber, Onision, who made a video about it, and he was like, I don't use the hard R. I use it with a at the end, so that's okay. And
Right.
he used like a white comedian's comedy to justify iDub saying it. And I left a comment and I was like, white man uses a white man's comedy to justify another white man saying the N-word. Like,
Okay. Yeah. 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 I mean, and it's so complicated because I don't want to just be like across the board.
hmm
This is bad when people do this. I think if you care at all about what is going on with African Americans,
yeah.
your take on it is going to be very different than someone who hasn't given two thoughts about what is going on with African Americans and then uses that word and then after they get in trouble try to cover their tracks.
Yeah, and I also take issue with Tana Mojo too because I think she's 18 years old, and there's like there's some videos out there of her saying it, and then
Yes.
when she made a Snapchat apologizing for it, she was like, "Oh, I didn't know these words were offensive. I thought
Mhm.
it just meant homie or friend." But in the videos where she's saying it as an insult, like
Yeah.
you're a stupid N word, and yelling that word to somebody else. She's not saying it like, "Hey, what's up, N word?" And
Mhm.
any of the things she's saying it, that's not how she's using it.
Mhm.
So there's that. And then she said those words when she was like 13 years old, but there's tweets of her saying it 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
there's that. And I also feel like the only reason this, like when she made her huge like video that was like, let's call the N-word video,
Mhm.
um, I would have been more impressed if she started off with that video instead of focusing on the iDubbbz thing that happened at her meet and greet, and if she instead focused on, hey, you all, I did these bad things at least 2 years ago, and I have changed my ways. I've learned, all about these injustices. I want to do better as an ally, et cetera, et cetera. But instead, it was all these white tears about this word that was said to her at her meet and greet.
Mhm.
So, do I think she's a racist person? No, I don't think she's racist. I think she's just not. She's not there yet. And I feel like she's focusing more on how does she protect herself than how does she be an ally for people in the African American community.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and I my sense is now that you framed it in that way, I want to say that I may not need to make a video about it. Um and if I do, you'll have to excuse me for snatching them words right out of your mouth.
That's okay.
But that said, yeah, I think that's again one of the problems is that when when there's an infraction, the focus on who was insulted, right? Focus on who you stand to
hmm
injure by it, not
Yes.
putting all of the focus on, oh my goodness, all this stuff is coming down on me and people are going to see me in the wrong way. Boo, we see you. We already see you.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
okay. We can see you and love you and like whatever. Nobody's going to come. And this is another thing that's been really breaking me up. And I think I've said it on other live streams. I don't know of anyone who has been drug through the mud for being a racist. Every few years, somebody gets exposed for
Oh
saying
yeah.
something racist.
Yes. I
And
got
everybody's like,
too.
"Oh, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, come on. What
So
happened? What?
I work at a high school,
Hmm.
and on last week's, actually a week ago, some students made some posts on social media that were very racist, like
Hmm.
referencing the KKK, referencing Confederate flags. Also, some homophobic stuff is going on as well.
Hmm.
And we had to have like this huge meeting about it for the entire community, and all this other stuff was going on. We're doing programming to educate the students, and the student was she sent her like her counselor an email, and she was like, I feel like I'm getting dragged through the mud for putting this thing on social media. Can you please pass my social media apology on to the discipline officer, so that way they have that side as well, because everybody's focusing on the thing I did wrong and not the good things I've done in this world. And she's only 18. I mean, like, I'm not saying she's only 18, but she's still learning and growing. She's still in high school, and her apology was essentially like, I'm not racist. I didn't intend to hurt anybody. I didn't intend to do this. I didn't intend to do that. Instead of saying, I recognize that writing things about the KKK is hurtful to people because of these reasons, and I am
Hmm.
going to do better. So, and I think we've just kind of raised a generation where we're focusing on the intent instead of the impact that it's
Hmm.
having on other people.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to, as an educator, I don't know how to change that.
Hmm. Hmm. I want to welcome Emmeline. It's your first time on You Now. Welcome. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and it's again, and I hear that, and I feel like yes, that is something that does happen.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for a case where, say, a high pro Donald Trump, somebody says something that's racist or sexist or anti any of these groups, and loses because of it,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
know, every now and then a student will do something and the school has to
Hmm.
protect themselves, and so they
Right.
take some disciplinary action. But in terms of people just kind of out there living their lives, it's not there's
Right.
not a long list of people whose lives have been destroyed because they've
Exactly.
said something that's racist. And I think partially it's because it's something that just operates on so many levels in all of our lives that it's never really that surprising.
Hmm.
It's never
Yeah.
really that surprising.
Yeah.
And it may create some distance between the individual and the group that they've targeted with that language, but the general public is not going to be like, oh well, I think he's a bad person, I'll still elect him.
Right.
um, and not to be over simplistic, because I'm sure now I'm gonna get 100 examples of people who were like taken, receive disciplinary action, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not gonna make me feel any better about it.
Right.
Um, because it's not like I want to see people punished because they're a product of the society that they live in. I just noted that Juice was saying something, that race and religion are distractions in our society, and Juice, a part of me is like with you 100%, but then part of me wants to challenge it 100%. Race and religion, there are material effects in the lives of people because of race and religion. In Texas, with the burning of a mosque, that is a material effect because of someone's anti-Muslim sentiment, right? That's a real thing.
Yes.
However, from the top, the way people are activated, how racism and hatred and things like that are activated to serve a larger purpose. I agree with you, Juice, there 100%. And there are some people who would say that the whole Muslim ban was a way to kind of cover up what's really been happening, because not many people were talking about what Dodd-Frank,
Right.
right? People weren't talking about what was happening in terms of policies and regulations that protect us from things like, well, they haven't really effectively protected us from predatory lending, have they? Because since 2008, there is still, people who are losing their homes because of, the fellow in my own city, right, with Quicken Loans, uh, and predatory lending, and we're seeing lives destroyed by that. But the lives, they're not really it's those folks. It's those folks, and they were broken to begin with, and so they probably were going to lose their house whether or not they'd gotten that that loan to begin with, right? So it's operating on different levels. It's operating on the material level of here and now, swastikas being painted on doors, people being hurting each other, and that's on both sides. That's on both sides.
Yeah.
People, physically harming each other, and then on the other side there's this smoke screen because we're all so busy fighting to decide, who's controlling this turf, that this little tiny bit of turf that we've all been given to kind of operate on. We're not looking at the bigger picture and seeing how, these folks are destroying the environment because of the, industrial, the large scale polluting that is going on. Folks who are vegans aren't focusing on the fact that the animals aren't free. These are things that are way larger than the very small issue of, these constructed things. Religion is constructed, race is constructed in order to serve these purposes, in order to be divisive. So
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going with all that, but I'm going to say this. I'm really grateful that you got on today and
I am
offered
too.
us your part of it. And again, if I do follow up with that Tana Mojo, I don't want you mad at me, because also I'm calling you out again. We're going to do this thing. Vegan Sister and I decided that we were going to run the equivalent of the
Yes.
distance from Detroit to Chicago, which is, I haven't checked the mileage, but I'm guessing it's like something like 230 miles, 240 miles.
Probably.
And let's give ourselves a long time. Let's say like by June or by August. By August, we're gonna have run 230 miles, which is
Here's
something I don't know.
funny. Back
Go
in
ahead.
like August, I registered for the Tacoma City Marathon.
Where's
And
Tacoma City?
It's in Washington State.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've been trying to contact Vegan called Quest because he lives like right over the border in Canada. I'm like,
Okay.
hey, maybe we could like meet up or something, but I can't figure out how to get in touch with him.
Okay.
But I don't know if this is actually going to happen. There's also a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon option, so I might be running one of those ones instead.
Where are those?
It's also in the same day
Okay.
as Tacoma City. So
Okay.
me and my girlfriend are supposed to be going to Tacoma in April. So
Okay. So you won yourself a few new fans
oh, thank you.
behind
Thank
this
you very
appearance.
much.
I want to say hello to Alex T, to Hit Like a Girl, Katrina Walk 1. Thank you guys for joining the broadcast. I hope that this has been, enjoyable for everyone. We're gonna Vegan Sister, you got anything else to say before we
No.
Okay.
You guys, great weekend.
All right, so I do want to say, y'all, the word is a vegan call Quest. The call is out. Vegan Sister is looking for. So if you know a vegan called
Yes.
Quest, make sure they know they got to get in touch with the sister.
Yes.
All right. So that said, I'm gonna let you go, and thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And y'all, that is oh, you're welcome, Alex T, for being here. Has anyone looked into Strava? I've been hearing about Strava. Strava as like a messaging. No, I'm thinking something else. I'm just confused. What is Strava, Tom McDonald? So we're waiting for an answer for that. So let me see if is there anything else. So we didn't hear from Redneck to Vegan. I'm disappointed. I would have loved to. Maybe next week we can I can get in touch. Oh, cycling apps. Cycling stuff. Does Strava also record, like, if you're running? Does it also track your running as well? Maybe. I think someone maybe brought up Strava last week. I think that's why it's sounding familiar to me. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that said, I hope all of you enjoyed our little slumber party, and I want to thank you all for joining us. I really hope that you will be back next week for more on this, and a couple of really kind of cool things coming up next week. There are actually 2 actions here in Detroit, and I'm going to try to broadcast. I'm going to try to capture some of those and be able to bring you some footage from those. But that said, yeah. Thanks for becoming a fan, Emmeline. And Emmeline, I think it's your first, maybe it's your first time on You Now. If so, welcome to You Now. Yeah, so all of you, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it. If you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourselves. Peace.